All right, welcome back, YouTube. Welcome back, friends. Denny here once again in the Jeep. Last few videos were in my vehicle just because I've been busy and haven't been home as much. So doing more videos in the vehicle because got to get them videos out. So improvise, adapt, overcome, and get her done. I am actually in front of my old junior high, well, just behind the grassy knoll over there. Make sure there's nobody taking shots. It's okay, I got a roof, I should be all right. Yeah, it's front of one of my junior highs. I guess you call it middle school if you're in the United States of America. And it's like grade 7, 8, and 9 here. It's a 3-year thing for junior high. And yeah, went here in grades 7 and 8, so that'd be the first 2 years. And it was not a good experience. It was, you know, the kids were not nice. The teachers were not good either. I struggled tremendously. And then for grade 9, we actually moved to a different area, and that's about 20 minutes south of here. And that was a much better experience. So it just shows you that, you know, a little change here and there, just as simple as changing schools, or maybe changing your workplace location, or maybe quitting your job and do what I do as self-employed. That's can change your life, you know, just a small thing, and it's a whole new experience. So yeah, speaking of experiences and success and adapting, and how's your dating life going, fellas? Any luck out there with the ladies? Now, as I mentioned in the last video, it's what was my birthday, and went out to celebrate with some friends at the bar, and you know, it's now I don't go as often because I'm an older fella now. And yeah, like with this channel, I talk a lot about guys struggling with dating, and you know how it is now with society, and it's tougher than ever, and all the stuff we have to deal with online dating and dating apps, and you know, all sorts of things. But yeah, that's just how life is. But thought I'd be a little more specific today, because I still notice now the venue we went to was more of an older crowd. I don't mean like really old, but like, you know, people are in their late 20s to mid to late 30s. I'd say maybe the average age of this place is, I don't know, like maybe 37, 38. So I might be a little bit above that. And but it's all good. It's a very welcoming and fun place that I've been going to for years, and a lot of regulars and stuff. But it got me thinking again about a I don't know if you call it a theme, but like about a certain challenge that guys have, and that's you know, the question of, do you need to be a bad boy, and what is a bad boy to be successful with the ladies? It's kind of a complicated question. I guess it's yes and no thing. It's always been a challenge for me. It's been a pain in the ass trying to come to terms with, you know, maybe I'm not the classic bad boy, whatever that means, because that might be like a subjective term. What someone sees as a bad boy is maybe not, someone else doesn't view it exactly the same way. So I don't know. I guess I've never been considered a bad boy in terms of like what can maybe attract certain type of women. Um, I've been told um, painfully many times throughout my life, throughout my dating struggles and failures, that the sentence that we've all heard, which is nice guys finish last. And I've heard that many times. Even, I've been told that by my friends. I've been told that by other women that I was interested in. I've been told that even by my father once, which was kind of painful. It's like, oh man. Well, he was being very honest and, just sees it how it is. But yeah, I don't know, like bad boy is like a subjective term. Like, does it have to do with looks, like appearance? That's what I always kind of, for most of my life, thought, kind of what it was, and maybe a bit of an attitude. And often, like things like tattoos, for example, like it's almost like you don't really think of a bad boy without envisioning like someone with a bunch of tattoos. And like back in the day, it was pretty rare. Like when I was growing up, if you had tattoos, you definitely were in a certain category. You were a bad boy, or you were just like someone that was like just bad. Like you were in prison, you were an ex-con, or in a biker gang, or like you were in a fringe group. When I was a little kid, like in the 80s, you'd see people with tattoos. It was kind of like, whoa, now everybody has them. So you got to wonder, is that even a bad boy thing on its own? Because like everyone, like nerds have tattoos, and like cops like have tattoos, which was unheard of when I was a kid, a cop having tattoos. It was like almost something to be feared, like if you seen someone with even a little bit of ink, like the plumber that would come to the house, if he had like a bunch of tattoos on his arm, you were like worried, like, is he gonna remember the house and just try to rob it later or something? Actually, even when I started locksmithing, I've been in the trade so long, and it was still technically the 90s when I got into it, and it was frowned upon for, if you're in the trade, if you're in locksmithing trade, to have tattoos, because you're supposed to be a trusted member of the community and have a lockpick license, and you're kind of being put in a position of authority and of trust, where people expect you to have more of a clean, friendly, kind of trustworthy look, and not have tattoos like you just got out of jail or something. Yeah, and people didn't trust you as much, if you had ink. And now it's totally different. Now, like, almost, I'm in the minority. I don't have tattoos, and like, honestly, I don't even know if I like tattoos, really. If I wanted to ink myself, it's the only reason I was even thinking about it a little while ago was because, like, I thought that's what he would help you to be more successful and get more dates and maybe attract some more women, but yeah, I just never really was into it. And I don't know, like, if I did it, would I regret it later? And it's no guarantee, I could get a bunch of sleeve tattoos or something, and I'm still me. Like, maybe it wouldn't be congruent, and then it wouldn't work anyways, because the women would see through it. They would, it's not really the deal breaker. Like, it's not like, oh, now I have tattoos, now I'm like completely different person or something. But yeah, I understand women like guys with ink, and some find it sexy, and to each his own. I'm sure there's a spectrum. You know, like probably most women, you know, they like a little bit of ink, but not like crazy, like head to toe covered in tattoos. And I'm not even a huge fan of a lot of ink on girls. Like a little bit doesn't bother me here and there, but you know, people, you know, I'm not even friends with some of these guys. Like when it's like their neck and their face and all that, it's just like a bit much. And especially if a girl's doing that, it's like, it's not really my thing. And been told that that's a red flag. So I don't know. I've never really dated anyone with a lot of ink, so I wouldn't really know. And generally that type wasn't really interested in my type. So you know, I mean, I would date, you know, if they were accepting of me not having tattoos, and I met a woman that did have some, like I wouldn't consider it a deal breaker, you know, if she like treated me good and all that. So yeah, that's just one thing. And yeah, it's just that whole bad boy thing. Like what is it really, you know? Like is it I always thought of it like you're actually bad. Like to me, bad boy is like someone that did jail time, you know? Or someone that like gets into a lot of fights and yeah, just does bad shit. Maybe they're a drug dealer and they make their way through life with that, and they do well, and they kind of that gotta have kind of like that alpha thing going on to pull off being a drug dealer, and maybe there's a certain look associated to it, and that's what attracts a lot of women, that danger, or maybe the propensity or the potential for violence. You know, maybe it's something ingrained in human psychology where you know, the women are attracted to a guy that's, you know, not really going out and causing trouble, but if trouble ever came to the door, he'd be able to handle it. And that's like kind of linked to the idea of a bad boy or something like that. Or I don't know, maybe to some it's just purely a look, and you know, it's a guy with the tattoo and kind of like the ripped jeans, and maybe he's a musician or something, or smokes weed or whatever, but really he's like just super friendly, super nice, and not violent at all, or not confrontational, and maybe even a little bit of a pushover, but because he's got the look, he's like still attracts people. I don't know, maybe some of you can chime in and let me know what you think. But yeah, I've just struggled with the thing. You know, I'm not really considered that. But then again, you know, like it being subjective, like on the women's side too, it's like some could look at me as not really, like you think of like a bad boy and then a complete opposite, maybe some weakling nerd or something, or some just super passive aggressive dude that's like a virgin or something. You know, I'm not really that, you know, maybe I'm in the middle, or they could even view me as like, because I'm blue collar and a little rough around the edges, and you know, I played sports and I work out, and you know, I'm not super like clean cut or anything, and I'm just kind of an everyday guy. Maybe they find that attractive in some way. Maybe leaning, not really bad boy, but kind of going that direction. I don't know. It's you know, if a bad boy's like at a 10 and the opposite's a 1, maybe I'm like a 6. I don't know. But yeah, it's just an idea that we all struggle with, and that's what a lot of like the red pill community talks about. And you know, Hollywood and all this stuff growing up, culture kind of told us the opposite, you know, like to be nice and to treat women well and all that. And but yeah, even Hollywood is like interesting, and pop culture, because like growing up, especially in the 80s or 90s, a lot of the storytelling was the attractive girl, like the cheerleader, or even like the sweet girl next door type. You know, at the beginning of the movie or the story, she was with kind of the football jock, or kind of the bad boy, the guy with the leather jacket that was at school, or a lot of times is like a one of those things where like it was like the older guy, and the girl liked that because it was like a bit more dangerous, a little bit more taboo. She was like, you know, 16 or 17 or whatever, even 18, like high school girl, and she's dating like the 20 or 21-year-old college dude that like has a car now and maybe like sells dope or something so he can buy her things. And he picks her up from school, and he's got the leather jacket and the loud music and stuff, and she's like just super excited because she's like way above her friend group. But you know, he's turns out to be, you know, trouble. And then you know, then there's like the nice guy who's pining for her and does all these nice things, and she eventually realizes she you know, and it's just a bunch of bullshit. We know it doesn't happen. What's that movie of John Cusack where he's like has like the ghetto blaster, and he's like outside the window, he's trying to get the girl. Say Anything, I think it was. Yeah, these are like the stories they told, you know. And what's interesting is like that they did get it half right. So it tells me they know the reality of the situation. Because like, why was that high school sweetheart thing, or the nice girl, the pretty girl or whatever, with the jock or the bad boy to begin with? Obviously, like they're even admitting that this is what women want and what they're into. But then they throw in this thing where you know, the nice guy, you know, the opposite of the bad boy, gets the girl in the end just by you know, I guess they call it the blue pill, just, you know, the romantic angle. And you know, the mama's boy, or the you know, the way your mom would want you to treat your sister, or ladies, is, you know, you play that out and that gets the girl in the end. But that's really not what happened. So I think Hollywood was like kind of double dipping. They were telling the truth in one way, but then giving a totally different group of guys hope. And they were perpetuating this idea of you know, romance and supplication and simping, that would, you know, win the day. And yeah, simping is not really what gets you the woman, that's for sure. Yeah, it's just interesting, you know, just growing up, like, you gotta wonder if I was kind of brainwashed, you know, because that's how I acted. I have like simp stories like you wouldn't believe. I'll have to make a video about that. Just the cringe, just weak ass behavior on my part. Younger, you know, just when you're starting those dating years, it was just absolutely horrible. And you know, it never worked. And funny, you just keep trying the same thing over and over, and it took me years and years to learn the truth, you know. Just kind of sad to think about, you know, how many years wasted on just acting the wrong way, or just having the wrong mindset. But that's how it is. Better late than never. And obviously still lessons to be learned. You know, I don't have all the answers. I just thought the bad boy versus nice guy dynamic is an interesting one to explore, because as I said, I always thought it was a little bit subjective. And you know, for some people it may be purely black and white, and there could be you know, a lot of nuance to it. I mean, my mother, for example, sweetest woman in the world. I could talk about her for an hour. We have a great relationship. Unfortunately, she's a bit ill, diabetic, and struggling a little bit with weight and stuff, but we're like super close, and I visit her all the time. She still makes dinner on Sundays, which is nice. But yeah, I mean, she even her, like, my dad was, I guess when they met when they were really young, he was kind of considered the outcast and the troublemaker. He was from kind of the wrong side of the tracks, and he'd caused trouble, and he was, in like a juvenile detention center at one point. He was getting into fights, and he was arguing with teachers. They couldn't tame him at school. He didn't want to listen. Very rebellious. And he met my mother, and my mother's family like actually disapproved of my father because he was in trouble. And I think one time even the cops came looking for him in the neighborhood or something like that. And he was hanging out with my mom. And and it was interesting, like, because there was another fella in the neighborhood, and this was in Europe, in Croatia. If you don't know, I was born there, Eastern Europe, and different culture and stuff. Back then, when it was under communism, was fairly strict. So he was kind of even more rebellious, you could say. And there was a fella in the neighborhood that was actually a really nice guy that was on his way to university, going to get a really good education. And he liked my mom, was interested. From what I've heard, he didn't pursue her like super hard or anything, but I think he asked her to hang out or whatever. And my mom just wasn't sure at the time. And then my mom's family like encouraged, yeah, you got to go with this guy. He's smart. He's gonna, be whatever. I think some sort of architect or whatever he was going to school for. And as soon as my mom started hanging out with my dad, the troublemaker, the rebel, she just completely lost interest in the nice university guy. And and then my mom and dad got married, and my dad went to the army actually because it was mandatory under the socialist communist regime of the former Yugoslavia. So while I was a little baby, he was in the army, and he wasn't around when I was until I was like a year and a bit. Like, what was I, maybe 15 months old? Was kind of my first interaction with my father. And and then we moved to Canada a couple of years later, and the rest is history. So but that's just a little tidbit, little bit of background's interesting how my mom, who she fell for, right? And she's like the sweetest lady you could possibly meet. And and just, my dad's not a bad guy. Like, he was young at the time. He's not, he didn't like carry on. He didn't carry on that way. He was actually turned into like a super hardworking blue collar welder, just always hard work. And then my parents split. He had other girlfriends and that. So he's pretty good ladies man. Just made some bad choices with the ladies he met after my mother. So it's a whole nother can of worms. Don't want to put him too much on blast here, in case he ever watches. I pray he doesn't see this. Sorry, Dad. Sorry, I'm tired. Can't even get the sentences out. But just another video about something that was on my mind, and something that was triggered while I was out at the bar, and I seen guys out there chatting the ladies up, guys you considered bad boys, and seeing that it still works. Nothing's really changed. This is who the girls go for. And still a little bit confused about where I stand in the whole scheme. Maybe just because I don't fall into any camp, I'm kind of in a category of my own. Maybe that hurts me more than helps me. I don't know. But I'm still out there trying, and you just got to get out there. You just put yourself out there, just to be exposed, and just say hi to some people and start some chats and go from there. But yeah, let me know in the comments what you think about this subject, what you've learned maybe, and maybe some advice for me. And I hope, I hope you've gotten something out of this, maybe some advice as well. Most of the stuff I talk about is just based on experience and what I've observed, and kind of my thoughts, and what I think, just based on information I have. I obviously haven't, been out there as much as some people. So yeah, let me know if you think of anything. Thanks again for watching and subscribing. Please leave a like on here. Consider subscribing if you are new, or if you've been watching and still not subscribed, just hit that button. I would really appreciate it. I also have a PayPal donation link if you want to support the channel that way. Small YouTubers unite. Yeah, let's do it. And what was it? Shit, I was gonna say something else. Anyways, I will think about it and post it in the next video, or I will put it in the pinned comment if I think of it. Once again, thank you. God bless you. Enjoy the rest of the week, and possibly we'll see you on the weekend. Peace out.